Hi there, and welcome to our assembly of my last actuator, the new and improved version of the actuator based on the aluminium extrusion. Um, a lot of the parts are 3D printed on the Creality printer here. We have the slider here that will slide inside the aluminium extrusion. That is obviously coupled to our um, nut here on the worm gear nut, and then we'll obviously connect to our bearing, which the bearing holder is also 3D printed. Then we have our NEMA mount that the NEMA motor fits on top here, and then we have our bottom where the leg actually fits in to, and then inside our slider here that will obviously move the rig up and down. So the first thing is we're going to assemble this part here. We're just going to turn our screws in here. So we use 4 M6 screws at the bottom here. This part here, as you can see, the wiring, that is for our limit switch right at the bottom to tell the actuator that it's reached the bottom limit in the software. So just turn those in. Okay, making sure they're all tight. Okay, so the next part we are going to put the slider in. However, we're obviously going to apply, and we're using some multi-purpose lithium grease for greasing the slider, making sure that we cover and it slides nice and easy in there. The lithium grease obviously better for your plastic. We have a plastic on aluminium there inside, so just making sure that we have everything slide nice and easy. It's just on those axes as I'm greasing it up there, making sure, like I say, that everything slides nice and easy. When we put it in, because it's quite a decent fit in there, so we're going to make sure that we also wipe off some of the excess as it goes in there. Okay, seems to be all done there. Making sure we got it all in that space on that side. Okay. So let's now put this. See that it fits all nice and tight in there. There you go. And it slides very nice. Taking off all the excess grease there. It gets left behind. We also got to make sure that we grease our shaft. Okay, so as I said, we must make sure that our worm gear is also well greased. So we just apply some grease on that. Making sure that we turn it in the right direction. Let me tell you, if you turn the worm nut off the gear, you have to fit but 34 ball bearings, 3mm ball bearings back, which can be quite a tedious task. I've done it a few times, so you know, getting used to that now, but it's one of those things. So just turn it through, making sure it turns nicely. Then the last bit that sticks out on this side, just apply some grease there. Okay, that should do that. We turn it back, and now we can fit it inside there, making sure we get rid of any grease on the outside. Okay, our next is to fit our our bearing holder, and putting that in place. The bearing holder nut, please make sure that this part always goes against the inside there. Okay, turn that on while holding the gear or the worm gear. It doesn't turn. Okay, let's get a good grip on that, and then it has, and I'll show you there, a grab screw, which you gotta make sure, as I said, that this thing is on there tight enough, and then you gotta tighten that grab screw to make sure that that nut does not move. Okay, there you go. Now we're going to fit the coupler, and we're going to give it enough space there. So we'll just tighten it on there for now. We'll see the space once we have this inside as well. We're going to tighten that on there. Making sure that it doesn't slip. Okay, so now this, we got to make sure that we got to just have it facing the right way. So I'm going to just turn this, goes on the inside. Oh wait, that's not on yet. Okay, so there, this is our coupler now, goes on there. So what we got to do is make sure that we fit these screws in before the time, otherwise they're not going to fit. Okay, they all nice in there. So now we can start tightening those ones on. Bit of a tedious job, but making sure that they are even and that we do not. Okay, that's facing the right way. Okay, I'm not going to bore you with tightening all these screws, so we will come back when these are all nice and in place. Okay, so now we have all those 4 screws in there, and now it's time to assemble this. So we're just going to make sure we have our view hole here so we can see, and we have our motor orientated correctly. We are going to do it like that. There you go. And now we have got to fit these in these holes here. All right, it goes through to your motor. I'm going to pull them back a little bit. Okay. We're going to fit these screws on. Oh, the nuts, sorry. Okay, so that's how we will do all 4 bolts with nuts. Then obviously there's a lock nut to ensure that it doesn't shake loose. And again, we will then return once I have all these then put in place. Okay. We have a fully assembled motor. Anything now left to do is to put the leg on. Okay, so first we're going to put the foot on the bottom. Nice and tight in there. Okay, and then we put the foot in the bottom. And there we have it. Okay, so that's your fully assembled actuator now, and we will later at the later stage and show you how they all work in unison on the rig itself.